Okay, remixes, bootlegs, edits. That's what we're talking about today. And a lot of times you can find these awesome white labels in the record store because places like Beatport and TrackSource are not going to sell unauthorized remixes. That's one of the things I miss most about going to the record store is it's the only place you can get these dope unofficial remixes or bootlegs. So that's what I'm talking about today. I got inspired to do one of my own, getting away from the serious techno, all black jeans, black shirt, techno, serious stormtrooper, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, time to get a little fun, summertime vibes. I had a friend over who doesn't play banging techno full on all the time. He likes tech house. He likes that Romanian sound. He brought over a stack of vinyl. We were having a nice run through it, drinking some whiskey. I had a lot of my old stuff working with his. It was fun. But he plays his tune and had a nice kind of 303-ish bass line, a little dirty, a little funky, but, kind of raw. And then I hear these keys coming in. I'm like, I know this tune. And then more of the song plays. I'm like, oh, it's that 90s great track, Everybody, Everybody by Black Box. So I listened to his some more. I mean, I recorded our set. It was fun to listen to, commuting and whatnot. Nice little soundtrack. But I'm like, I'm not going to buy that record, I guess. Who knows if it's still around. I can just make my own bootleg of that. So that's what I did. I went on Discogs. I bought the vinyl, recorded it. This is, I had to time stretch it because the original is 117 beats per minute. So what I'm going to do is talk to you today about doing your own remixes or bootlegs. I'll use the term interchangeably, but if you do an unauthorized remix, I would suggest that you be technically correct when you put it out there for the world to hear and call it, insert your producer or DJ name, such and such bootleg. Technically, a remix, you can only call it that when you're working with the artist. So yeah, here's they call it the rockapella. It actually has some keys and strings and the vocal, which is fine. Just the vocal a cappella would have been ideal, but check the site in the blog post for a resource on that. As many of you probably know this tune. For some, it's a nice classic. For others, maybe you were in diapers or something. Anyhow, the first thing that you want to find out when you're working with a bootleg is what key the original was in. So you can run this through Rekordbox or mixed in key. You can do something like that would be the best. If it's a well-known tune, you could probably Google stuff like sheet music and the music will tell you the key, or use your DJ software of some sort that does the key analysis. So in this case, I walk around and see your night sky. I compressed it a little bit. I dialed back some of the high-end frequencies. I attenuated around 5 hertz. Now, I got all my ideas down first. I'm just going through some mixing stuff with you. The great thing about doing this is that you can work with the original arrangement a bit, like between 145 and 146 seemed like a natural breakdown, so I didn't really try and reinvent the wheel. I did a lot on my own to introduce the source material, so there's a good almost 2 minutes before you hear much of the original. I'll play it for you in a minute. You hear some of the keys fade in. It has a really catchy chord sequence there. Added a kick. I found a kick drum fairly quickly. Luckily, that happened to be in the key of F. You can find that out if you just bring your kick into your EQ program. It should tell you. So you can see right where the kick resonates most is right at F. And then the bass, I happen to play a bass part and it hits on the kick note most of the time, and it is a rather low bass. So I just rolled off some of the lows here and I introduced the bass with a filter. I've got my kick and bass group together with the Studer. It's my go-to for kick and bass. Just adds a little extra fatness. I added it my own hi-hat part. I chopped up some of the keys so they start like fading in with the filter. I chopped some of the vocal and made little vocal tease parts. So that's what I got. You know, I add a clap, it goes on. There's some other stuff that happens, a little breakdown here, and it goes back into it. I added the keys that I sampled and played back on my own in Machine. That whole thing is here. There is some automation that fades it in and out just with a filter. So like when the breakdown is done and it drops at bar 165, the keys start fading in. I did the little vocal thing up here where, let me see, where is that? Oh yeah, so there it is, the ow. I added that right here to give it a nice kind of ghost or pickup note before the drop. And then on the master, I've got my Fatso pretty much on the usual settings. I don't compress any low end on the master under 240 hertz. Only thing I'm doing differently here is I'm giving it a lot more warmth just to tame some of the highs in the original and in the hi-hat that I added. And that's that. So if you go about doing your own remixes and bootlegs, it's a lot of fun. You know, you have source material to work with, so you don't have to come up with that catchy vocal or catchy hook or interesting synth part all on your own. And then you can borrow some structure from the original material as well. Like I said before, the original vocal kind of cuts out here for 20 bars and then gets back into things 20 bars later at 165. So I didn't really try and change much of that. I just fit parts around it. Again, the bass comes back in at 165. The bass is out at 145. There you have it. Have fun. Maybe I'll release this in the future. But I'd say, yeah, give bootlegs or remixes a go. That's a great way to start producing stuff instead of doing it 100% your own. See you next time. Stay tuned.